technology can do just about anything, but if it's not used and not used religiously, it doesn't deliver the value.
Welcome to the BigTime Podcast, where we have honest conversations with industry professionals who have advice that's right for you.
Enrico Schaefer is the founder and CEO of Traverse Legal, a law firm specializing in all things digital. Enrico stops by to tell us how his firm offers a transparent and holistic way of working with clients that's in keeping with the innovators the firm represents. It includes letting the clients know what they'll be charged up front, internet marketing, and helping to educate their clients so they're better prepared for the future. Welcome. I'm Alexander Ferguson, your host, and I'm very pleased to introduce my guest on today's episode, Enrico Schaefer. He's based in the Detroit area. He's the managing partner and founding attorney at Traverse Legal. Welcome, Enrico. Good to have you on.
Thanks, Alexander. Pleasure to be here today.
In that first few years when you were founding and growing the firm, where did you spend your time? Where did you invest your time on a daily basis? Can you remember how you divided it up?
Yeah, so I felt generally, I thought that we were 50% a technology company and 50% a law firm. So half and half, right? Half of the day I'm practicing law, the other I'm building out systems, I'm implementing technology, I'm learning new technologies during that incredible phase of technology explosion, and then implementing processes on technology. Technology can do just about anything, but if it's not used and not used religiously, it doesn't deliver the value. So for us, for me, it was really trying to, keep the lights on while exploring all these new innovations that could change the business of law.
For you, beginning to where you are now, what would you say has been the crucial elements that have helped you scale? And it's both establish your brand, but also be able to continue to scale as more clients come in.
So it is the software systems, it's technology. It's, big firms cannot compete with Traverse Legal. It's just not possible because they can't implement new technologies and have them be used, right, in any reasonable time frame. Whereas for us, we can find a new piece of technology such as BigTime or, other, we use Salesforce and there's all the different software programs that work with Salesforce. We could see something that we think adds value to us or adds value to our clients and implement it within a week and have adoption because of our culture is all about, these new technologies, very quickly. Whereas a large organization has far more challenges in terms of selection and adoption and implementation of new technologies. So small and nimble in today's world really is an advantage.
You paint a very rosy picture of that you're just really good at technology, you're fearless, things were scaling, you had no problems, absolutely no problems these past 16 years, no challenges at all.
Oh, I only wish.
What can you share of maybe some of the more realities of, okay, they're not insurmountable, but they were a major challenge in your growth phase?
So I think that the biggest challenge we have always faced is the non-technology piece. It's the people piece. It's the actually finding the right people who fit the culture, who have the appetite, who are willing to literally change their process, their technology in real time. And a lot of the folks that we've hired are not technology people, yet they have to be able to adapt to this. Oh, you just changed my job, right? Like now I have got this new piece of software, and sometimes that can be hard. But finding the right people that fit us, that are our family, our company is very much a family. Is really hard, and so that piece has always been the greatest challenge and the greatest reward when you do find those right people.
If I understand correctly, again, you've got 7 attorneys right now, 4 offices, serving clients in, I think, over 50 different countries. Thinking back to when you started earlier, what was maybe your most important hire in that growth stage that you would even say someone else should pay attention to that similar type of hire?
Easy. My partner, Brian Hall, who started, we created this thing called virtual law clerks back in 2005, where we were actually hiring law clerks in law schools across the country who specialized in things we specialize in. Because our case management system was online and available, people like Brian were working in class on our client research projects, and we were assigning them the tasks through the system. Well, Brian started with us as a first-year law student, and he stalked us throughout his schooling. He became our very first on-site law clerk. That he did a summer associate position with him. And I made Brian a partner of the firm right out of law school because of all the different law clerks that we had working virtually, and you could kick the tires on them. I knew Brian was special. And Brian is the execution piece of my insanity, right? And so you have to have that in a business. You have to have both sides. You've got to have the person who's the nuts and bolts person, and the visionary who can, kind of look out and be mesmerized by what's happening and try and be a part of that early.
For that growth, it's essentially, so you have that balance. You have someone who's fearless and new ideas and growing, and then someone who can keep the execution going. Was it just so simple as, oh, wow, no, I see his qualities. Yes, you're going to now be a partner.
It was simple. It was that simple for me because I just think out of the box. And so Brian may be the only person out of law student who became a partner right out of law school, maybe in the history of the country, who didn't start their whole firm. But I follow my instincts. I follow my gut. I have a sense of things. And my sense of Brian was that he was the right person to help Traverse Legal grow and become the firm that it's become.
You mentioned that the biggest challenge for growth is the people themselves, and also you're saying some people where you bring in new technology, it can be difficult. Yeah. How have you both educated and equipped the team to use technology at the same time in order to keep growing and scaling and not rub people the wrong way, or to help pull them forward?
The only way that I know how to do that, which is incredibly difficult for any organization, right? Because you're asking them to do more, you're asking them to change. People don't want to change, right? And our folks aren't necessarily, they're not all tech people. So the only way to accomplish that is to make it part of your DNA, that using technology to win, that innovation, our byline, changing the way law is practiced, is part of who we are as a firm. And having that be part of the DNA makes it seem like, oh, okay, we've got this new implementation. We're now going to gravitate in this new direction using this new piece of software, this new, cloud-based system. And whereas everyone's got this visceral reaction to change, new unfamiliar software always feels hard, right? But if it's baked in, you get by that quicker. And so if you're a company that wants to be innovative, that wants to grow with technology, that wants to use technology to win, you've got to make it part of your core values.
Were there any circumstances where someone just didn't accept it and you had to say, oh, well, this isn't going to work? Or did everyone eventually say, you know what, I'm cool with technology, I'll go with this?
So I think it's more a question of keeping up. And so there was never we've had folks who really are the opposite of tech people, right? But they fit some other thing that was important, whether it was culture or specialization or whatever. Certainly on the way in through the door, they knew what they were getting themselves into. But because the culture is so technology based, I'm sure there's some griping and there's some groaning and there's oh no, not another piece of technology, right? And we try and be careful about what we select, but those folks, they just don't have any choice but to keep up. Whereas in a big company, you can have partners who just simply refuse to use email. Remember those days in 2008, 2009, the company owners had their secretaries or staff get their email, print them and put them on their desk, right? Because it's part of our mission and our culture, everyone feels like, okay, I'm going to have to make this effort. I have to keep up. And so it's less of a problem for us, I think, than for a lot of other folks because of the culture, because of the mission, because of the DNA aspect of our company.
If you could go back to when you first started your business and have a sit down with yourself, what would you say? Is there anything you would say to yourself 15 years ago?
Ooh, yeah, that is a good one. I would say be more fearless, be more fearless.
More fearless.
More fearless. There's good and bad in everything. And what's the worst that can possibly happen is you get a chance to start again from scratch without any expectations or any legacy issues, right? That first phase of Traverse Legal will always be the most special phase, beyond any of the growth, beyond any of the amazing things that have happened to us as a firm through the years. Nothing will ever come close to those early years. And so, yeah, just go for it.
Just go for it. There's nothing to hold back. If there was a warning, what would you, if there's anything like, you really should watch out for X, what would that be?
I think it would go back to the people side, and I don't know what they beware of people like, or beware of, this certain personality trait. I don't know what that would be exactly, but, the concept of team, the concept of family, the concept of everyone pulling for everyone on the team, whatever you want to call that, if you could find a way to find those people, that's great. If you find the wrong person that's not that, right? Big warning, right? One bad apple can spoil everything. And so we've been lucky not to have too much of that. And to the extent it has happened, it's not been as dramatic as it can be, but it is the thing that can stop you dead in your tracks is having to deal with those types of issues. And we've certainly had our moments where the wheels felt like they were falling off because we were having to deal with a person that just didn't fit our core values.
What did you do? Like, how long and what indicators started to appear to you like, okay, this could be an issue?
Yeah. In retrospect, right, at the time, we're going to make it work. And, we're just going to keep training. And, we're just going to keep mentoring.
Did it go
right?
a month? Did it go 2 months? Did it go a year?
Typically it went less than a year. And I think that, building, getting people so let me give you an example. So hiring people who worked at big mega firms who have this completely skewed view of what the practice of law is, hours times time, right? Hourly rate times time. Sometimes you just cannot beat it out of them. They come to you thinking, this is a great new approach. I hated all of that, 1,900 hours per year as the only thing that I was judged by, et cetera. But trying to break them of that after having been beaten down by that for years and years, it's sometimes impossible. There's nothing they can do to make that change. And so being in a relationship with that type of person who looks great on paper, right? Mega firm, best schools, et cetera. They talk the talk about, wanting this change. Can they change? Can they actually break those habits? And more often than not, the answer is no. We've tried to find people who we could grow. Brian has never worked anywhere else. My partner, he knows nothing but Traverse Legal, zero. So none of those habits came with Brian. And we've brought a lot of the people who are with the firm started with us as a virtual law clerk, and we got to know them, they got to know us, and we got to then train them, and they got to grow with us. That is a much better predictor of whether or not you're going to have that match on culture.
Closing thoughts here, Enrico. Everything comes down to time. You only have so many hours in a day. Any leader of another organization, professional service firm, there's only so much time. What would be any closing thoughts of where should you be investing your time, yourself and your team?
Yeah, it's simple. Invest your time in your passion, and you've got to cross the T's and dot the I's for sure. You've got to run your business. You got to do your own work. You got to keep your clients happy, but pursue your passion, and the rest will take care of itself. You will never get to everything, but as long as you're carving out a little bit of time each week for the things that you are passionate about in terms of innovation, business innovation, new technology, whatever, you'll be able to balance all those pieces, and you'll be top dog at the thing that you love the most. And that's what really drives it all.
For more info, go to podcasts.bigtime.net and be sure to subscribe to the Big Time Podcast to get notified when our next episode goes live.